it's a privilege to have Chef Manjit Gill here with us. And I think it's my honor to be with him and, do this chat show with him. So, no, sorry. Please sit. So, I think he's an iconic in the industry. He spent almost 50 years in this culinary um, ambience, right? So I think it was just a phone call away. So I feel it's more privilege for me to be here with him. And he's always somebody I've looked up to, right? So let's start before we, you know, get that. I think that inspiration is very, very important because there's lots to learn from him. So I don't know how many of us know, but he actually got into this industry by chance because he was doing his BSc from a college in Delhi, and then his father actually guided him to get into this area of expertise. So that was just by chance. And then he discovered in the due course of doing IHM that he was actually made for this only. So that was, I think, a beautiful journey from where it started. So, Chef, I would like you to throw light on that.
Thank you very much, Taran. As far as journey is concerned, as she said, that my journey it was a very beautiful journey and very productive and very satisfying journey. I encourage people, as many people can become the chefs, because this is what is the best thing, and you feel that you are blessed to work into this industry, but you have to work ethically, you have to have your principles very right. So because the food is a philosophy, particularly in India, if we see the way if we are evolved and we understand the food, it's a philosophy. And this gives the nourishment to the other body when you cook. So you are a very responsible person, you have to do a very responsible cooking, and being all these things, I think it's a very, very noble to be into this profession, and it's a fantastic profession, and it keeps you always physically and mentally busy and in a good humor, with all these things. So it's very, very important. And my journey is, as you said, I was doing BSc, then my father advised me to join the hospitality because he read some career options and all those things. So I did. After that, I joined the hotel school, and I found that the culinary side is very, very interesting and the maximum number of hours are spent in the management in that side. And I found that myself, the way I am, bringing up and all those things and my own nature and all that, it fits very well into the kitchen. And I was academically an average student, but other than studies, I was extraordinary, fantastic in many, many areas. As a leadership and all those things, I had that. So I choose the kitchen to work, and I will not say that I had the passion to do it and all that, or there was no passion, there was no story, there is nothing like that. But only getting into this, the hotel management, and then found kitchen is the food production is a very, very interesting side, very practical side, and where you can, work very freely with your own mind. There were many positives were in that, which I realized while doing this course, and decided to join the kitchen. Once I was very lucky that I got the kitchen management training in the Oberoi's. So I was very lucky that time, I'll say. And then, after that, I started taking more interest, and I created the passion in me to work in the kitchen. I believe that the passion is always created. I don't believe the passion is always inside. You might have a likes of few things, but once you decide what you want to do, then you have to create the passion. And passion is created by increasing your knowledge and the skills and the practice. All those things have to be, you have to continuously doing it. I still feel that I am an eternal apprentice. I am learning. I have to learn so much about food. It's not one life is enough. So it's a very vast subject. It's a very vast area of the specialization. and it takes time. So learning is continuous, always continuous, because you cannot, in this profession, you cannot survive on your history. And now I can't survive that I'm the best or I'm something because my 50 years are very good, but what I'm worth for the tomorrow. If I'm not able to contribute tomorrow or for the years to come, I'm useless. My time is over. So that's what the beauty in the food business is. The chef is that you keep working, you can keep thinking, you keep creating, you keep discovering. You keep producing the food for the people who need the food or who want to eat the food throughout your life to the last breath. Then after that, people might say master died, but before that you are eternal apprentice. That's my philosophy. That's my thinking always.
Beautiful. So very well said that whatever we have learned, in the past X years, goes waste if we don't evolve with time. So that's very, very beautiful way of expression and expressing oneself. Now, taking this clue forward, I would just want to ask you that the current hospitality schools in India, for example, the IHMs, which are the most prominent around, right, where the kids sit for the exam, and for them it is only IHM from where they look forward to do a hotel management for the 3 years period. Now, the kind of teachings and the curriculum which they have, vis-a-vis the culinary schools which are there abroad, there's a lot of difference which is there. So would you like to throw light on that?
Uh, it's a very, very, serious topic which you have started. Uh, you see the hotel schools here, and particularly in the food side or the kitchen cuisine or culinary side, it's very sad situation at this moment, till today. We don't have our own books to teach. We teach the Western books, and one must understand that any country's cuisine is a culture. It is the identification of yours different than to others, is the food which makes you that. So we are not able to teach, even till today, the students on Indian culture or Indian philosophy or Indian science or Indian gastronomy. We are not able to teach because we don't have the books. We read the Western books. That's why you must have seen that we show some practical recipes we cook to show the students, but that doesn't make them the thinker or the knowledgeable for their own food. That is the reason that you might be seeing that all the youngsters, even in our time also, passing from the hotel schools, if you tell them to create something, they always create Western food. They think Western. They don't think Indian. If you tell them to make some menu for a healthy food, they think Western. It may be worse as far as nutrition is concerned. Maybe. I'm not saying it is always, but maybe. Maybe it's full of cream and the butter and the cheese in one dish. There's so much. But we'll not be able to think India. So situation is very bad at this moment. It needs to be corrected, and it cannot be corrected by one individual. I keep shouting, I keep making, different university, colleges and all that. Things are, people have started thinking now to change this route, system of teaching. And it will take time, and then we might have the better chefs and the better chefs, that's why you might be seeing that you sometimes very difficult to find an Indian restaurant to decide where to go. But the Western restaurants are plenty. Every day the new restaurants open. It works mostly on the product. You buy the product, and with a very little skills you can still create the dishes and you can start serving the dishes. But Indian food, if we want to make the Indian food as an Indian gastronomy, which I think is the superpower of this country, as a superpower, soft power of the country, because the knowledge of how much we have and how much we can disseminate to the world is fantastic. I have been to the international colleges, studied also outside, many colleges to upgrade myself, and I found that it's okay. It's not, once you start understanding your own food, their theory, their knowledge is very just on the surface. They have not have the depth of that. Like we say, our food is as a philosophy. Like I tell you, as the gastrosemantic of the Indian food or our Indian science, gastronomic science, uh, I'll tell you, and every word in that, you can write a thesis on that. It is so deep that our food is deeply rooted in 5 elements. We all understand 5 senses, 3 humors of Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. You must 3 strands, the gunas of the Rasic, Tamasic, Sattvic. These things are there in our culture. 6 tastes and the 9 feelings. That's how food is. Anybody can want to do a research, can do a thesis on each 5 elements, or how 5 elements are related. Why people say, India has written, they are written documents, they are written in the manuscripts. Why seasonal food is, or local food is good with the word is talking now? It is mentioned in our manuscripts thousands of years back. That the local food and the seasonal food is the best for you. Why? That nobody is telling in the word. The Indian gastronomy telling it very clear, because this universe is made of 5 elements and you are composed of 5 elements. And other than you or any biological body is the food which is composed of 5 elements. The vanaspati, the other animals. From there you keep the balance of your 5 element composition. And this composition keep changing in every season. Like in summer, you need more water because the water has 70% water your body has reduced. You need more water. Not only water to drink, but your cooking is also from the food, the curry, the gravies are thinner, more water content in summer than the winters. The spices are different, so you take the 5 element and balance your body. Now it's very easy. We say normally that the season is changing, we will fall sick. It is only because we're carrying the same food to the next season. And when we fall sick, then we change the food. But if we change the food, now all these things, the gastronomic science is very well documented, is there. We all need to learn. So for that, we need the books. They are documented, but we need the books which are for a culinary student or culinary enthusiast to understand that and then put it in the practice. So at this moment, situation is not very good. They still need to change. I think the institutes, the universities must take this step and move forward and do it. But I'm doing a book. I think it will be out in a year's time, which that how much every person who cooks need to understand the Indian gastronomy, keeping in mind the principles and the guidelines of Indian philosophy food and the Ayurvedic philosophy. Let's see how it works.
Beautiful. All the best for your forthcoming book. And I think this is one of the many books which he's written. So, I think he doesn't even have a count of the number of books he's written and contributed to this whole industry. But rightly said that the schools we send our students to, is a little painful because they are not getting the right ingredients to come out and understand what we stand for, in India at least. So Indian food has to be passionately looked up to and curated and loved to create many more things out of it, right? So that basic, if it's not clear in our current schools, I think there's lots to contribute there. And I think chefs like you, veterans, they actually, all the chefs like you come together and create a school, culinary school in India. I think that's going to be something to really look up to, and I think that will surpass everything which is happening all over the world, because the kind of passion they are going to be putting it for the Indian cooking, because Indian cooking needs a lot of exposure still.
No, you see, it's sometimes it's difficult people react very fast. Like, if we are Indian, we have to know Indian cooking. And when I say in India, we can see so easily when we say our cuisine is very diverse, our culture is diverse. So every chef has to be perfect in his own regional or own community food. That he should be, he cannot say, I tell you, if you have a little time, I can tell you, I first time when I 1979, I went to Cornell University to do my few courses on food production management and food and control, and few courses I did over there. And there was an international community over there, and they asked me, uh, they talked to me about Indian food. I said, I don't know what is Indian food. I never cooked because I was trained on the Western food. I was trained in our time, it used to be called continental food, more on the French food. Then over there, while discussions and all that, oh, okay, Western French food, where you lived in France, where? I said, never lived. You don't speak language? No, I don't know how to speak. You learned from whom? We learned in India. How can you learn any food like that? So for Indian chefs, I will say that, or any in person, must master your own food first. And if you master your own food, you will be able to learn other foods much better. So you can cook, you can learn any food, any cuisine of internationally. But you must know your own food. That's very important to know. What you can learn in your own food, those rudiments or the basics is very difficult to pick up of any other cuisine. But on your basics, you can learn other foods also. Because basics doesn't change much.
Right.
So it is very, very important to know your own food, and then only you will see that culturally how Indian food will come up, and the right food will come up. Our food is, very good, and we all have to understand the pan India. We say that our food is very diverse, but our philosophy is not diverse. That is why we don't call it. We still call it a Indian food. Why we call it? Because the pan India, the philosophy, the guidelines, the principles, the fundamentals, the science of food is common, the whole India. That this philosophy only says, now, after understanding the total science of this, then be creative with your own local flora and fauna and your own local climate. That is why our food is diverse all over India. We say easily, but it is not diverse because our thinking doesn't change. Our philosophy doesn't change. But food is diverse. That's the only thing you find in this country, nowhere in the world. So we are very strong as per understanding of food and the human body and this science or this nutritional science or whatever in our own way. I think we are the best.
Yeah. We are diverse. We have a lot of local cuisines, and it's time for us to actually identify it, accept it, and move around it and know more about it. So I think that is very, very important, that we start loving what we have and start co-creating and creating more out of it. I would also, my almost the second last question is that you have created brands, iconic brands like Bukhara, Dampuk, and we've seen
part of the team.
Yeah, part of the team, of course. That's like a true leader speaking. So, and you have actually, hosted the dignitaries of the world at ITC. So, can you just share in short any challenges when such dignitaries were visiting India you had, and how did you handle it at the last minute or something like that for our audience?
See, it is always a challenge. I think for any kind of you have to do a deliver, there is a challenge of something. But food is also is challenge. So, but you have to it depends, your final production depends on your planning. Cooking is done in the mind, it starts from the mind. And then you plan that way. Then you know your team, you know what food to be produced, then you should know the team to be selected for that, who is best in what. So you must be expert in knowing, taking out the best from the people who can do that. So when you put everything together, chef should be very resourceful for everything, for the ingredients to resource or technology to resource or everything. So chef, if you plan yourself well, then it doesn't matter that you're cooking for 2 people or you're cooking for 5,000 people. The, the pressure, not in the negative side I'm saying, pressure for planning and all that is same, it doesn't matter. 2 people, food is also as important and as difficult to do it as to do it for 5,000 people. It doesn't matter. It's same. Because you might be cooking every day, but if you are cooking for a couple or a wedding anniversary for them it is a one meal in a year or one meal of many years. You might be cooking every day, so you have to take that way
Absolutely.
so seriously that how important that meal is for the diner.
Beautiful. I think this is very beautifully put forth because it's just not another meal for an occasion. It is heart and soul into it and understanding from the other person's shoes and curating from that experience as to who that personality is for whom you are curating it. Even if it's a simple anniversary for a simple unknown couple. You know, it need not be just the dignitaries, but yes, you have to get into the sensitivity of the occasion and bring the best out of it. So I think that is very, very beautifully put up. Now, before we sum up, the last question is, you look very composed to me all the time. Whenever I meet you in every event, you look very calm, composed. I'm sure there are a lot of pressures around. You have handled such beautiful brands and so much of, I think, pressure around as a helm of the affairs and the in charge of the kitchen area. So what is your message to the audience? How do you maintain your coolness and still stay stress-free? Because stresses just come left, right. How do we, balance ourselves and express ourselves in the right way?
Chef should be calm. And you see, you learn with the experience, with the time, and it's beautifully written in our Indian gastronomy. I use the normally word Indian gastronomy than Ayurveda and this and that because today's understanding is better than. Well, when we say Ayurveda, people think you're talking about the old school thought, It's very beautifully written, 4 things that I tell you it's important to know, I think. One is that there are 4 essentials of cooking. Now, first is that you must have the knowledge on characteristics of the ingredients. When you know the knowledge of the characteristic of the ingredient, then you're using ingredients in your food is become more thoughtful and mindful. And cooking become more simpler because you're adding everything which complement each other or which give the right product. You're not adding for the sake of adding or maybe more ingredients you add more better food will be. Sometimes you see, recipes are like that only. Sometimes, but you become better chef, better cook, When I use the word chef or a cook means everybody who cooks. It doesn't change you cook at home or you cook into a 5-star hotel or a dhaba. The principle, it doesn't change because you're cooking for the human being. It doesn't change. You have to follow the same thing. And number 2 is that you emotionally must involve. Physically, touch and feel of the food you must have. Of the ingredients, you must touch them. Whether the 100 people are helping you to do that, or at home you are having a great the help at home. But you must, when you are eating the food is going to be cooked for you, you must cook, you must touch and feel the food. And you will see that, you might remember with your own experience also, sometimes when you touch and feel the food ingredients, you might change the recipe. Sometime it happens. You might change the recipe. Don't cook like that because this ingredient is now different feel. Number 3 is that your mind has to be there where cooking is happening. It's a very high level of meditation, concentration. And being into this for such a long, I feel that meditation is much better while cooking in action than sitting in a dark room and close eyes. I don't know. I never experienced that, but I have experienced a very high level of concentration and meditation in the cooking. And number fourth is that you must have good thoughts in mind when you cook. If you follow these things, and when you cook with these four essentials, your food become, I will not say use the word prasad because it's a different level, but your food will definitely do goodness to the diner who's eating it. Definitely it will do good. So it doesn't matter where you're cooking at home or you're cooking in the hotel. It's same. It remains the same, and one can easily practice. They are not difficult things. And now, as for the calmness is concerned, if you remain calm, then only you can handle the situations. And in the food, particularly into the commercial kitchens, where you deal with so many people, and the taste and the likes, dislike of the food is very subjective. So the lot of moment to moment, you keep getting the request or keep getting the change or keep getting to sometime, and you deal with so many ingredients that sometimes the market is closed, you don't get the ingredients, you get the something you need at 2 o'clock, but you get at 7 o'clock, but you have to serve the dinner at 8 o'clock. Now, how you use your professionalism, how you take the work for the people, is only possible if you are calm. And even you will not believe, you must have heard of Maharaja Nal. In 300 BC, he has done a book called Pak Shastra. He has written the characteristics of the cook in it. In that book, that old. And in there also 5-6 characteristics, it's written that the chef must be calm, or cook must be calm, or whatever the word they have written, it must be calm. Because with the calmness only you are able to handle the situations. You find sometime in the kitchen there are a lot of, the pressure becomes such, and the people lose their, control, and they leave everything. That time you have to calm and be calm and put them together and produce a good food with the good. That's why only if you are calm, the food will be cooked with the positive thoughts. That only gives the positivity to the diner. It's very, very important. And chef must remain calm. Now God may be given ferocious face to me, I don't know. But people scare of me. And I'm very hard with them, but they're scared of me, They hide themselves when they see me if they're doing anything wrong. But I never shouted in the kitchen. Nobody has ever seen me shouting in the kitchen. There's no need. And then whatever it is, cooking creates happiness. And you cannot create happiness for the people. If you are under stress, you are under pressure, you are under, tension. Now these words are not in my dictionary. I never use these words. I'm under pressure, or I'm under stress, I'm tension. I don't know what are they.
Wonderful.
So having all these things, you remain calm. The best food you can take it out.
I think this
whether
is a
at
beautiful,
home or in the kitchen.
This is a beautiful takeaway that cooking creates happiness, and cooking is a form of meditation. And as a leader, and otherwise also as a human being, if we shout and give stress to our team, then obviously what the outcome is not real tasty food, right? So whether it is at home or our cooks are cooking and they're in the different state of mind, whatever the output comes out will not be the same as they must be cooking in a happy state some other day, right? And that is why I think the same dish tastes differently by two people, because it depends what happy state you are in and what you're thinking while cooking, because that's a form of meditation. And I think we close our session at this, and this is a beautiful takeaway. Chef?
I just tell you about you said two people. These experiments are done also. We have seen this. When the two people cook, now you need to be calm, but doesn't mean, but you should have the attitude of what the hell, I'll do it. You must have attitude. You must have attitude of no scare of failure. I will be successful. I will learn it. I will practice it. Finally, I will produce it, which is the best. So that kind of aggressiveness also you require. You require that. Being calm, but you need all these things also. And it is seen that the two people, if they're cooking the same dish, same time, same ingredients. But both the people, the products are totally different. Why it is different? But the one has more fire, more vitality, more guts in him to do that cooking, and his result is much better. The person who is scared, he cannot. So one has to be aggressive. One has to be, absolutely on the toes to do the thing, but be calm.
Yeah. So this is a beautiful balance, and I think it comes with practice, huh? So aggression plus staying calm at the same time. Beautiful. Thank you.